Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. As always, I'm joined by Kat and Alan. How are you both doing?
Next question, Laura.
Okay, so we'll just go straight into the news that we signed somebody this week, and that might cheer everybody up. We signed midfielder Kim Shin-ji on loan from AS Roma. She's South Korean. Has recently made her first team debut with the South Korean team. Young player. She did make her debut today, which we'll come to, but today was a bit probably not the best game we judge her on, but good that we've signed another midfielder. It's an area we're lacking in, so that's a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a positive. It's nice that we've got another midfielder in. She looks fine. Didn't see all that much of her today, and I don't think you can really, as you say, judge it on that. But yeah, nice that we're actually targeting midfielders. It's nice because we know that we need them, and to be able to go to a club like Roma and say, can we have a player on loan, and they say yes, is pretty good. So yeah, it's good.
Very constructive. Alan, anything to add to it being good and a bit positive chat for today?
I'm happy we've actually signed somebody. You know, that's a deal we expected done maybe a couple of weeks ago. So it seems to have taken a wee bit of time to complete, but certainly need reinforcements. And as we've seen so far this season, this early point, we need reinforcements at the back, definitely. But possibly also gone right through the team. So slow moving. You know, we've seen everybody else make 5, 6, 7 signings. So 3 players in so far. You know, I definitely think we need a busy last week or 10 days of the window.
Yeah, definitely, especially after the first 2 performances, one of which we will come to right now. So we started with Fife, Docherty, Hay, Macaulay, Austin, Lafay, Griffiths, McLaughlin, McCleary, Codley Jackson, and Wilkinson. Much kind of the same as last week, a couple of changes, but probably the best we could really put out with the injuries and whatnot that we've got just now.
Yeah, probably the strongest team that we could have started with. But considering that Kathy wasn't anywhere in the lineup, a bit of a worry. She's back injured already after playing 1 game, but that's just how our luck goes these days, isn't it? We just can't have any centre backs that are fit. It's just how it works.
No, and the way we obviously set up the 4 at the back again, but it was a bit of a square pegs and round holes situation, which doesn't seem to be paying off so far.
No, you've got a midfielder playing right back, a right back playing centre back, a left back playing centre back, and then only Fallon in a natural position on the left as she's trying to settle into the team. So, bit makeshift. I think the biggest surprise for me in the team lineup was the absence of Kirsty Howitt. You know, I think the performance she put in last week, I don't really see the merit in her dropping to the bench, but you know, at least she was still involved and we were able to call on her from a bench. But 1 or 2 surprises, maybe players being left out. But again, it highlights only 5 outfield subs on the bench. You know, the squad is extremely light, and I remain very surprised how early we've loaned some of the young players back out after they performed so well last year.
Yeah, Kat, it's very light, and I think it was telling in that first half. It was obviously you weren't at the game last week, but for what we told you, the game was first half pretty much panned it the same way last week. Obviously, Hearts are a full-time team now, so are going to be more difficult, but I think the way we set up and that just wasn't working really, because we had Wilco up on our own, but nobody really supplying anything with her.
No, and it looked like players were too scared to make runs. It's almost like they didn't trust the player beside them or in front of them to do something and make something happen, so they're just stopping with the ball and basically on top of each other, playing the ball to each other, and then it going back to Jenna and side to side. No urgency, no energy. We kind of wake up a little bit. Don't know what happened there. Yeah, it was rubbish.
Yeah, Alan, again, it cost us as well in the first half, 30th minute, we conceded, and it was pretty much carbon copy last week's goal, just at the other side.
Yeah, it was one of them. We really should have had a proper effort and goal. Hearts break up the park. We're very much exposed, and all Adam Mulligan, gets wide, gets space for a shot, and just turns inside a wee bit on her right foot, and it's an absolute brilliant finish from her. But the pace that Hearts got from back to front and just cut right through us, and how easy it was for him was really concerning. We've got to hold on to the ball and in their box a lot better, and we've just seemed to be completely missing out on any sort of presence in the midfield this season. It's been telling in the first two games just how easy it is. Teams are going through the middle of the park, and that's definitely cause for concern. But take nothing away from Hearts' break. It was an outstanding break and an incredible finish. So, unfortunately, I had to see that. But one down, 30 minutes into the game, we completely failed to capitalise on the fact that Hearts play in a back three. With Brogan and Mia getting nowhere near high enough up the park. We weren't finding him high up the park and actually pushing Hearts back. So Hearts were breaking forward quite regular and just not letting us settle.
Yeah, Carson, we're going 1-0 down at half time. As Alan was saying, they were just cutting straight through us. We barely had a chance really in that first half as well. They even looked like we were going to mount a comeback. Obviously, we'll get to that in the second half that we did a bit, but just really disappointing in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful. We regressed so much, and I know we've lost, really good players in the midfield and across the park with the likes of Rio, but nobody wants to press. Nobody seems to have that desire to go forward. And you said last week that it was the same thing, but there were signs of it. And I think, bar the few goals that we scored and one good passage of play that ended up with somebody being offside, because that's just how we are at the moment, that the strikers want to be offside, there was nothing. It was just slow side to side nonsense more than anything. It was just rubbish, and it needs to be fixed quickly, or it's going to be a very, very long season.
Yeah, definitely. Alan, we came out, started trying to make things happen. Camille was down in the box. People are claiming for a penalty. We've watched it back. Does seem a bit soft, but what were your thoughts on it when you've either seen it at the time or watched it back?
I've not seen it back yet, but at the time I thought probably there was a foul in the sort of build up, probably from Camille. Then the defenders brought Camille down, which would also be a foul, and then Camille's probably fouled her again. So a bit of a tangle, but I think the first foul was probably Camille, and it was soft pretty much whatever way it was going to go. It was both players fouling each other, and just one of the clashes that usually if the ball breaks away, the ref's going to play on.
Yep, definitely. Camille then went off just after that. I don't think it was because of that card, but she went off. Kirsty Howitt came on, and I think Kirsty kind of kicked us on a wee bit. We were starting to make some chances, and she was kind of shouting, getting a bit vocal, and trying to drag us back into the game.
Yeah, and I mean, she should have been brought on at half time, in my opinion. We weren't creating a lot, but there was long balls from Jenna that Kirsty would have ran onto, which I don't understand why we didn't bring her on earlier, but that's by the by. But yeah, as soon as she came on, she started shouting. She was barking orders at everyone, which seemed to wake Nick up a little bit, and she started doing the same thing, and the team seemed to get a little bit more organised, which was nice. And then we looked a bit more energetic. We were creating a bit more. We were going higher up the pitch. We were getting balls out to the wingers who were then making runs, which was nice. A nice change from the first half.
Yep. Then Alice Griffiths and Mia Macaulay went off. Alan, I've put Mia and Lizzie came on. Mia did not come back on. Lizzie came on and May came on. That's what happens when you're taking notes at the game. And it was an instant impact from Lizzie coming on and getting an assist to get us back into the game for Wilco getting on the score sheet.
Definitely, and may have been picked up a booking for protesting against non-awarding the penalty for Camille. So Lizzie's come on and made a big impact. You know, she was actually threatening that space that her Hearts will leave wide, and brilliant delivery into the box as usual. And you know, it was the first time really we'd seen much great service to Katie. You know, I know she'd hit the bar in the first half. You know, one or two half chances maybe she should have expected she would have done better, but you know, got us back level. And to be honest, it was more than we deserved. You know, at that point in the game, I don't think we deserved to even be level. But the delivery from Lizzie on point and gave us something to go at, and we went for it for a few minutes at least.
Yeah, Car, like buses, you wait for one to come along, and Wilco got another goal to put us in front finally.
Yeah, and another great assist from Lizzie Arnott, who gets a free kick, puts it into the box, and Wilco has to just kind of, it's a flick, I guess, kind of. She just kind of flicks it past the goalkeeper into the back of the net. But we're 2-1 up, and I'm thinking, here we go. We've sorted whatever the issue was in the first half. We've settled. We're threatening. We're attacking. This is great. Let's kick on now. We didn't. Spoiler.
Yeah, a couple of minutes later, Brogan and Liv go off. Laura Berry and Kim Shinji comes on for their debut. Weird substitutes, in my opinion, when we're finally got in front, and then the midfield, which was already weak anyway, you're taking Liv off, and Brogan, who was actually doing things. It's like, of course, Hearts were then, obviously, it then comes to Hearts getting back on level terms. How big an impact do you think the subs had on that? Because obviously we got back in front and we had the momentum, and then it changes again.
I think just another example. We only had 5 outfield subs available, and it was a case of using all the subs to get him on the park and get fresh legs on. But it's not the people we needed to take off that went off, but we're limited by the sheer lack of options we've left ourselves on the bench. So yeah, and the subs weren't ideal. You know, we definitely needed the fresh legs on. I can understand why Brogan and Liv pretty much were the only options to take off, but it wasn't a particularly positive change. You know, it didn't help us, and that's not on the performance of the girls that came on. You know, who did nothing wrong, but it probably upset the balance of the team a wee bit, and just we seemed to lose the ascendancy we'd somehow found.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it's lessons to be learned, Cash. But as I say, 88 minutes, they get back level terms. We see this every time at Ibrox. It seems to be, it's like the place is cursed. They get level terms, and then they could have actually got a penalty because there was a handball in the box. We were lucky, I suppose, that wasn't given, but a terrible refereeing performance, as always happens. But what was your take on the penalty shout?
Oh, 100% it's a penalty. It comes off Ailey's arm, which puts it then wide. I think he gives a corner at that point, but it was already 2-2. Ailey, I don't know, she's rusty because she's not played a lot of football for us. We've brought her back in, and you know, Kathy and Leah are both injured, so she has no option but to play the 90 minutes. A little bit of frustration, and she basically rugby tackles the lassie to bring her down, which they get the free kick for and end up scoring from it. And then could have potentially given away a penalty to mean that we lose the game. It's not really fair on her. It's not her fault, but we have to rectify that. We have to find a way to either get them back fit or bring in centre backs or full backs or defenders, someone that's able to fill that gap so that Ailey's not playing 90 minutes and having that mistakes get made. But 100% that's a penalty. Like, majorly got away with one there.
Yep, definitely. So it ended 2-2, Alan. Probably a bit harsh on Hearts after they had done so well. We probably got away with one a wee bit, but it's 2 games into the season and it's crazy already.
Yeah, and I think Hearts will, on reflection of their first 2 performances, will be extremely frustrated they're sitting on only 1 point after losing narrowly last week. So Hearts thoroughly deserve 3 points today. I thought Hearts were every bit as good as we were poor. You know, it's easy just to talk about us being bad, but Hearts were very good, and part of the reason we were so poor. But we always knew, sorry, it was going to be a much harder start to the season. The fixtures are much different bag than at the start of the season last year. So certainly a big challenge. We've obviously lost a core of the squad in recent years in the summer. So that's definitely a massive challenge. Len Creighton's about 3 weeks in the job. So I think we're certainly up against it at the start of the season, but it's a very, very tough and competitive league. You know, we certainly don't want to be getting too far behind, but we, we've got we're back at Broadwood next week, and then we've got a small martyr trip to Hamilton for an Old Firm game in 2 weeks' time. So challenging times. But it's maybe good that we're starting the season poorly and we know exactly what we're up against. There's still plenty of time to work on it and maybe change a couple of things. Certainly time to bring reinforcements into the squad because I think the team badly need it. But we certainly need to address the sort of performance level at Ibrox because that's where most of our home games are going to be this season, and that will remain a concern. Will remain something that the players get thrown at him week after week.
Yep, definitely. As we said at the game, maybe we just get the mistakes out our system now rather than the tail end of the season. So we're going to take a positive. I think that's the one we're taking, are we?
Yeah, I mean, at least we don't have it hanging over us that, you know, the possibility of going invincible, which for some reason every season always seems to hang us up when we're still unbeaten going into Christmas, and then we start to get a bit worried, oh, well, if we lose a game, it's going to be a downward spiral or whatever. So at least that's kind of out of the way already. Trying to clutch at every straw here, trying to find something. But there is positives. I can see what they're trying to do. It's just not working. So she needs to figure out a way to get the best out of the players. So the second half, we do that for 90 minutes and we find a way for the wingers to be useful, put balls into the box if we're going to play Wilco. If not, play Kirsty Howitt, get her on the end of long balls. We'll be okay, but at least it's kind of out of the way and just put us back to Broadwood, I think. I think Ibrox is just not going to work.
Yeah, the attendance wasn't great either, as expected. Sunday, Subway closed at 6, etc., etc. But we are back at Broadwood next week, Alan. Who'd have thought we would have been looking forward to that so much? First Ibrox, suddenly we love Broadwood. So we play Motherwell, 4 o'clock kick-off. Tickets are on sale. It's live on BBC Sports Scotland as well, I believe. So obviously there's probably not going to be that many changes to the team because we don't have that many changes to make.
No, I'd be very surprised if there's any more than a couple of changes. Hopefully, some of the centre backs are possibly back fit and we can actually freshen up the defence. But we certainly need to do some work on getting the midfield involved in games more. We badly lacked anybody across the park putting a foot in the ball and just calming the game down a wee bit and giving us a semblance of control today. So definitely something we need to look to improve on. I think familiarity at Broadwood will help. Morwell had a bad defeat today, so they'll be hurting a wee bit, and they'll be missing 2 of their players that were obviously on loan from us. So it's a chance for us to go and get a wee bit of a confidence booster before the game the following week. But I don't think the way we're performing it's a given yet.
They've also got to take into account that they're now switching from grass back to the AstroTurf, which is also a factor. Obviously not going to be an excuse, but as a factor that we're going to have to do across the season. So it's another thing, another obstacle that we put in the way ourselves to get used to that change as well.
Yeah, and I don't really think we should have moved games to Ibrox if we weren't able to play all of them, because this switching back and forth I think is going to be a bit of an issue. Broadwood's, it's fine, but it's not the best Astro pitch in the world. It's not great. It's pretty dry. It's a bit sticky. So yeah, it's going to cause some issues. Maybe we get a lot of rain over the next week and flood the pitch or something, and that'll sort it out. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be difficult, I think, across the course of the season to switch back and forth to, especially 1 week to the other. It'd be fine if we had like 3 or 4 weeks at Ibrox, but obviously we'd have away games in between there. But it'd be better than that 1 week already switching back and forth. But can't do much about it now. That's just the way it is. So need to buck it up and just get on with it. And I said buck there. Just
yeah, I think we've already done that so far this season. Alan, you were looking at the loan report throughout the day, and we have some actual positive news there across the games. We have some goals scored, I think, and
We did a close win for Spartans against Dundee United today, and it was an 88th minute winner from our very own Natalie Bandura, who played 90 minutes. Casey McKenna came on in the second half as well, so good game time. Very good loan move, I think, for both Casey and Natalie. So we'll keep a close eye on how they go on there. Sophie Townsley started for Hamilton and played just under an hour, went off. They lost 5-0. Mia MacArthur scored the first goal for Gartcairn. She was a starter, and Gartcairn ran out 6-0 winners. Both Rebecca Simpson and Alba Stewart came off the bench as well. Sophie Rutherford started and played almost 80 minutes for Queen's Park. They won 6-0 at home against Livingston, and Sophie was involved in one of the goals later in the game, just before going off. Who else? Lucy Livy, I don't believe, came off the bench for Boroughmuir. And who else? Tell me, who am I missing from the loan report?
Sophie Blackwell, Lily Boyce?
Yes, well, both Lily and Sophie started for Murrow. As I said, they got a surprising heavy defeat at home to Montrose, but Sophie Black got on the score sheet and continues adding goals to her game, which is something that was really good to see last year. And I think, again, for both of them, it's an absolutely brilliant loan move.
The car as well was good to see our players out doing well and on their loans, but we bring Natalie Bandura back already.
If we're going to bring anyone back, I think we bring her back, and we bring Lily Boyce and Sophie Black back, and then we've got some midfield firepower that we can play about with, but obviously that's not going to happen. No. It's good for the development and all that cliche stuff, but we could be doing with them.
Yeah, definitely. You'll not have had time to look at the predictor yet, Alan, will you? Because you're sitting in your car.
Yeah, as anybody can see, I've not made it home yet, but I'll have a look at the predictor. I can certainly tell you that absolutely nobody had Arden Mulligan down to score first goal today, so and no 2 points for first goal score for anybody. Certainly we're all wrong on that. Don't think anybody had 2-2 for the game either, but it was good last week. With a good start, with a correct score prediction all but one of the games. So with a really good take up, an extra 4 or 5 people entered this week. So really good to see. I will make sure the next round is up on Tuesday, probably early Tuesday afternoon. It'll go up. So don't miss it. Make sure you get your predictions in, and you can always agree or disagree with ours.
Mm-hmm. Or copy them, as some people do. Tracy.
That's a scurrilous accusation. I'm sure that'll go down very well.
She'll comment anyway, so it's fine. We'll leave it there for this week because I'm going to get killed, so I won't be here next week. Thank you, as always, Kat and Alan, for joining me.
Thanks.
Well, always a pleasure to speak to you.
That was painless. Hopefully see some of you at Broadwood next week, and we'll be back podding next week as well. Thank you very much.